echo sings for you. Rain falls on this town as you fall into the light. It's dark as into the water.
Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, reporting back on the final day of our trip around the Nordic realms, all the way up to the Arctic Circle and back. And today's all about Stockholm, because that's where we found ourselves on our final day. And we woke up in a pretty crappy hostel, had a pretty crappy breakfast, and then took a taxi to our museum of choice. I spoke yesterday about giving Tanya some agency over the itinerary, and I certainly didn't mind doing that again because I've been to Stockholm twice before. I love Stockholm. It is a gorgeous city, wonderful architecture, and as I said yesterday, as well as being on the mainland, it's spread over hundreds of islands, so it's got a sort of freshness and an openness to it. It is probably my favourite of all the Nordic capitals. I really do like all of them, particularly Helsinki, but I think Stockholm just gets it. And of course, because I've been before, a lot of the stuff I really wanted to see, I've seen already. So I said to Tanya, where do you want to go? And she chose to go to the ABBA Museum. And the reason she chose that is partly to do with her school. She's in the drama group. They're doing Annie, but there was no Annie on at the West End. They normally take them to see the West End play of whatever they're doing. And so instead they took them to see Mamma Mia. Rather her than me. But that made her really like ABBA's music. And what I will say for Tanya is, for a 12-year-old, she has excellent taste in music. She loves 60s, 70s and 80s music. So the ABBA Museum it was, and I certainly didn't mind because I am quite a cheesy guy and ABBA were very cheesy. So there we are. So taxi to the ABBA Museum, and we had a look around there for an hour. So Tanya really enjoyed it. I don't know what I made of it. I think one of the problems was I don't know if I learned that much about ABBA. I mean, there was a lot of their songs. It was fun. You know, there was like mock-ups of where they lived and the recording studios and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Did I learn a great deal? I guess I learned some. I learned that they were big on the Swedish folk scene before. Didn't know there was a big Swedish folk scene. There was a big section on the avatars, which is the ABBA Voyage concerts. And this is like a new thing where they basically like digitally scanned them all. They danced and they in this place in Stockholm, and they digitally scanned them all. And then they made avatars where they can change the face and that so they're younger. And they have all these costumes, which I think they also digitally scan the costumes. And so you go to this purpose-built arena in London next to the Olympic Stadium, and you can watch an ABBA concert, and it looks real, but they're actually like avatars. And I have to say, I quite like the name. So I don't know, like I've looked at it, it's like 40 quid a ticket, right? Starting price, which is a lot considering that they're not even real people. But I don't know, it's quite cool, and I think it's the future, isn't it? And you know, ABBA have always been a bit cutting edge, so yeah, it's quite cool that they are cutting edge. One thing that I did notice is there was a map of their world tour on the wall, and it just showed how the world had changed, because their world tour was basically Europe, well, Western Europe, North America, Australia, and Japan, and that was the world. And I think, like, can you imagine a world tour now that doesn't involve Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Qatar? You know, doesn't involve, like, Singapore, Malaysia, Korea, which is, like, you know, world capital of music now. But you would even be having dates in Brazil and maybe even possibly some in places in Africa. And we've just got so much more global. And like we think that globalization's been going on for ages, and it has, but you know, even in the 70s and 80s, the world wasn't global. It was basically, you know, North America, Europe, and Japan. And I mean, like Australia and New Zealand were like those sort of, outposts of North America and Europe sort of thing. And yeah, so I think the world's changed, really changed. And of course, the Europe didn't really include Eastern Europe as well. So yeah, there we are, a different world, After the ABBA Museum, we went for lunch. Wonderful little cafe nearby, but next to the Children's Museum, which I had thought, do we go there? But neither of us were really in the mood. And I've been to this cafe before, and I had, wonderful cinnamon roll. I love the cinnamon rolls in Scandinavia, and some coffee. And then we got a scooter again, and we went. We sort of had a quick whistle-stop tour around through the centre of Stockholm on this scooter, and we went all the way to the City Hall, which is on the opposite side of the city centre, but it's really quite cool. It's where they do the Nobel Prize ceremonies. And then when we'd had a look around there, we then went back to our hotel, except we found out that there's something about these scooters, right? So went over the bridge to Gamla Stan, which is the island with the old buildings on. And suddenly the scooter cuts out and it goes, you're out of the zone, you can use it. And we had to drag the scooter back to the zone we could use it. And I don't know, it's a real pain because it's actually trying to find where we got this scooter thing, it's the great way to get around everywhere. And you can't go everywhere in it. And there's certain areas where they've banned scooters. There is literally one road that leads to Gamla Stan, so we could get back to Södermalm, which is the island we were on, but then there was loads of parts of that you couldn't use scooters. So in the end, the scooter turned out to be an absolute pain, whereas we thought it'd be the really easy way to get around. Did that, went back to the hostel, picked up the bags, and then took the underground and then the train back to the airport, Arlanda Airport, nice airport, and then flew home. We got home in the evening, and that's that. So that was the final day. What about the trip as a whole? Good, bad, whatever. Okay, the bad, getting caught for speeding. I mean, like, horrendously expensive. Whilst I do appreciate the social equality thing about you pay more the more you earn, I really wish I'd lied about what I earn. And I just thought the limits were ridiculous. Like, long, straight, open road, clear visibility, not much traffic, and you're expecting people to do 50 mile an hour on it. I just think it's a bit retarded. So not happy about that. But, I did get done, and at least I haven't got points on my licence, and sometimes you just got to suck that stuff up. That was a big downside. The other downside, of course, was you go all the way to the Northern Lights. There's not a lot of snow. You can't do the reindeer trip properly. I mean, she did get a reindeer sleigh ride, but it was much shorter than it should have been. Should have been through the forest. Should have had a husky sleigh ride. Didn't get that. And so our trip was cancelled. And there was not even the Northern Lights. And I'm a bit annoyed now after having a big trip to Iceland in prime Northern Light season and now in the Arctic Circle when it's meant to have been Northern Light season and I haven't seen them. And... global warming, I don't know. Is it global warming? It could well be, but also they're just saying it's a bad year. It's like for 30 years we haven't had a year like this, but we did have one in the 80s. And it's just like, why? And so they were the downsides. Rovaniemi is a place, a bit more touristy than I thought it would be. I guess if I'd had more time when I'd been on my own, I would have gone up to the real out there Lapland, but... you were the kid and that, and okay. But I do like Finland. I really, really like Finland. I love the train journeys, and they're not expensive, and they are wonderful, spacious trains through a vast expanse of nothing, and I really, really enjoyed going on the train. Also, good point, Finland is not as expensive as you would think. It is more expensive than Britain, but not ridiculously so. Certainly not as expensive as Denmark or Sweden. And I'm glad I didn't stick around in either of those two for too long. And, of course, Norway and Iceland, you don't even want to think about that, right? So that was that. The highlight for me was seeing Sato again. She is a wonderful lady. I enjoyed her company on the Camino. This is the second time we've met. I do hope she comes to Britain, because having two dogs makes that a bit more difficult. But it was nice to see where she lives and to see a bit of the real Finland, if such a thing exists. But I do like Finland. I do like it. I felt I got a deeper understanding of the culture, partly through reading the novel and also, going to the art gallery, going to the ABBA Museum, so you get a sense of the Arctic more. I would love to go and explore more, but the problem is there's a lot of countries in the world I would love to explore more. I loved going back to Regatta Cafe. That is literally one of my favourite cafes in the world. And it was nice that a piece of Tanya's art is there now. And one assumes up on the wall. They include it on their Instagram anyway. So that's good. Other things, I had forgotten how much I like Scandinavian licorice. It is wonderful. It's dead salty. It's amazing. If you're not into licorice, do try this, but not if you like really sweet stuff, because it isn't. But I love their licorice. I also like something I've not talked about in the videos, but Satu gave us this very strange food. What was it called? I'll put the name down there. And it's like an Easter thing, and it was a bit of a sort of, I don't know what it was. It was brown. It did look a bit like poo. Not gonna lie, but you have it with cream, or she had it with like vanilla cream, custard, whatever, I'm not sure, cold, and it was really nice. It had a chicken on the front, and it's like this brown starch, a bit. I don't know what it reminded me of. It wasn't too sweet, but with the vanilla, it was amazing, and I would like more of that. So that was cool. The food is actually quite good in Finland, in general, and the coffee, they drink more coffee than anyone else in the world per head of population, and the coffee is good. It's in proper cups. The only thing is I would have liked creamier milk. But yeah, and Finns have a reputation for being dour. I think that's the accent as much as anything, but they are friendly, and we had a welcome. And, of course, Stockholm I really like. Copenhagen we didn't really see anything of, so I can't really judge that too much. But for me, the main reason for the trip was Tanya. And so, did Tanya enjoy it? Well, she really did enjoy it. And I think her art visibly improved during the trip. And, she wants to now go to more art galleries, so we're going to do that. And I just think it was a trip that's different than stuff she's done before, and I hope it's something that she remembers for a long, long time to come. And maybe it will inspire her in a choice of exams or even university in a few years' time. Who knows? That's what travel does, isn't it? It changes your life. It's me, Uncle Travelling Mac, saying as ever, keep travelling. Thanks for watching.
Come on closer. The echo sings for you.